Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you and this morning's edition of The Breakfast Show. And of course, as promised earlier today, we discuss Egyptian-Cypriot relations in light of the recent visit of the President of Cyprus to Egypt. And we're delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest for this morning, Mr. Abdel, Rahman, our political analyst. A very good morning to you, Mr. Amr.
And a very good morning to you. Hello to the dear viewers.
Thank you very much for joining us. So let me start by asking you, could you tell us a bit about the importance of the President of Cyprus's visit to Egypt in light of the cooperation in international and regional forums between Egypt and other entities like the United Nations and the European Union?
Well, I believe that the first visit paid by Mr. Nikos Christodoulides, the President of Cyprus, to the region, starting from Egypt, the gate of Africa and the gate of the region. His visit to Egypt has witnessed a very important meeting with Mr. President Abdel al-Sisi. And of course, they have discussed too many files concerning the common interests and the strong relations that Egypt and Cyprus they share since thousands of years. We have this common history, we have this common relations, and we have strengthened our ties with Cyprus, both with the leadership and the nation throughout that past decade, starting with this strong ties that has established by Mr. President Abdel al-Sisi with both our partners in the Mediterranean, Cyprus and Greece. We have discussed too many files. We are facing too many challenges, and I believe that the Cyprus President realized how important the leadership of Egypt to confront those challenges, and Greece by other powers in the Mediterranean, and our fortunes, our discoveries of gas projects. We share the same history. We share the same political horizons, and of course, we have that very important military cooperation on the highest level.
Absolutely. Mr. Amr, now the two leaders discussed mutual support in various regional and international forums, as well as, agreements that they've held to implement several joint projects between Egypt and Cyprus, as well as the trilateral cooperation mechanism that brings together Egypt, Cyprus, as well as Greece. Could you tell us a bit more about the importance of this trilateral meeting mechanism between these three countries and how far it has come?
Cyprus is a very important point in our relations with Europe, with the European continent, as well as Egypt is a main and the first friend for Cyprus in Africa and in the Middle East and in the Arabic Middle East. I believe that together we can share our own efforts to solve and reaching out to solve too many crises, and to strengthen our front, as we have already did and accomplished in the past decade. And of course, we have too many decisions to be made, and I believe that today's agreement between Egypt and Cyprus will help us to reach out and solve those crises and confront together any challenges we may face in the near future.
Indeed. Now, Mr. Amr, on an economic front, Egypt and Cyprus have collaborated, in particularly with regards to the areas of natural gas and electrical connectivity. Tell us a bit about this venture between the two countries.
Of course, Cyprus is a main partner to Egypt, and Mr. Nikos Christodoulides realizes how important that alliance is concerning the projects of natural gas. And of course, we have organized our relations in the Mediterranean by too many steps already has been taken successfully, and it helped us to face any threats to the region by other powers. And of course, we have this working together with our the third partner, which is Greece, to go on with our efforts to help our both nations reaching out for more prosperity and to achieve more successful projects in the field of natural gas, which comes in the most best way and the most successful way to our nation in Egypt and the nation in Cyprus.
Indeed. Now, Mr. Amr, also, the two leaders discussed how they can both benefit from cooperation in trade as well as, clean and renewable energy fields. And this is, of course, a very futuristic and important move that all countries are aiming for with the challenges related to climate change and global warming. How important do you see this side of the collaboration between Egypt and Cyprus, sir?
Well, in the international summit, COP27,
yes,
Egypt has established a very strong base and crowned its own success in using the green energy and those highest levels and the highest measures of projects which are already applied in our new cities. On more than 23 new cities in Egypt, we are using the same measures, the highest measures of green projects, and like green hydrogen and other branches of this file, which gives us the leading role in Africa to use those measures, and of course with cooperation with our partners in Cyprus, gives us more efforts, gives us more pushing towards even better measures and working together, as well as we are sharing the same visions of investments, and we share. Of course, we welcome all the investors from neighbors in Cyprus to come to Egypt, which is opening wide arms for investors from all over the world, from the east and from the west, and I believe that Cyprus deserve a better share of this investments in any and too many fields, with cooperation with either the government, the governmental projects, or the private sector.
Indeed. Mr. Amr, now both sides also discussed the fundamentally important issue and their visions regarding the importance of achieving security and stability in the East Mediterranean region, and they are collaborating on that front. How important is that, and what role can they play in this regard, sir?
Well, I believe that the Egyptian armies and the Egyptian navies are working side by side, shoulder to shoulder with Cyprus armies and navy in the Mediterranean, along with Greece, of course. We are developing our military relations for the benefits of our own nation and for the stability of all the Mediterranean countries. We believe that a friendly cooperation and a clear and a clean understanding between the two nations, and we only aim to preserve stability in the Mediterranean, to face any greeds from other powers, whether from the east or the west, and I believe this represents a very strong relations and historical relations of cooperation on all levels between Cyprus and Egypt.
Indeed. Now, Mr. Amr, of course, regarding the recent international crises with the war between Russia and Ukraine, the leaders discussed, adopting common views concerning this issue. How have the leaders, dealt with international issues of mutual concern?
We share almost the same point of view.
Yes.
We share almost the same common vision towards the Russian military operation in Ukraine. And of course, Egypt has led that direction on working on a balanced strategy with all countries, whether east or the west. And this doesn't mean we only took one side, but we are seeking our own best interests with relations with our associates in the world. And of course, we are backing our situation towards reaching a peaceful solution to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, based on of course, the legitimate rights of Russia in the Donbass and Crimea. And of course, we are already have established a strong relations with Russia, along with our historical relations with other countries, whether east or the west. I believe that Cyprus are taking almost the same moves and the same decisions with maintaining the strong relations with the conflict parts. And of course, we share the same efforts, and we share the same dream, the same hope that we may just push it towards a solution, a peaceful solution to the conflict, which will end the suffering of the whole world as a result of this conflict that has started not by the Russian attack, but by withdrawing the American and the NATO troops from Afghanistan to the Middle Asia region around the Russian territories, which has threatened, of course, the Russian territories and borders. We reach this common vision with Cyprus, and we are using the same vision with all friendly nations and all leaderships of the world. And the main target that Mr. President Abdel al-Sisi has made it clear in the COP27 summit. We have our own initiative that reaching out for a peaceful solution between the Ukraine and Russia. And of course, this initiative can be built upon and used for finally having this conflict is over, and the peace and prosperity comes back again to the world. We can breathe the air of peace finally, inshallah.
Indeed. Right, Mr. Amr Abdel Rahman, our political analyst. I'd like to thank you very, very much, sir, for your time and your insight, and for joining us on this morning's edition of The Breakfast Show. Thank you very much, Mr. Amr. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break, and we'll be back for more. Do stay tuned.